and we'd have to move on now to an even bigger stadium, a game which is maybe not so significant in the Community Shield at Wembley Stadium.
Significant if we win.
Significant if we win. If we lose, it's another pre-season friendly.
Yeah.
That's just how this game works. But it's, as much as you want to say that, you know, it's still a big game.
I think a lot of throughout, obviously United didn't win the Community Shield. We've won it a lot, but it wasn't an important thing to win at the start of seasons for Sir Alex Ferguson's team, and that was partly because they were a winning machine, mentality monsters. Like winning an essential pre-season game at the start of the season didn't mean anything. Whereas with this team, I do also think, obviously Arsenal didn't win the league last year, but they took it very seriously last year against City, and I know a lot of their fans was almost like, oh, it was nice to see that we can beat City in a game. Obviously over the course of the season, it didn't really matter, but I do think that that's how United should approach it, because for us, if we can win that game, I think it will give them a nice boost going into the start of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne really said about Louis van Gaal, he treated every single pre-season game like a cup final. I think Ten Hag is very much the same.
Yeah.
He wants that mentality instilled in the players, and he's going to say to them, look, it might not be big silverware. This is silverware. This is a chance to get one over on City again, right? And for him as well, if they beat City again, that's a big thing for him in terms of buy-in into his ideas and his system. So I think he's going to be looking at this game and thinking, right, we have got to win this, and that kickstarts our season very well. Like last season, our first game was Wolves. We didn't play great. We,
Scraped the
win. Thank you.
Onana punched someone.
Yeah. The next game, Spurs, we got robbed by I mean, granted, Onana did punch someone in the game before, but Spurs, we did get robbed by the ref a bit. So it wasn't the best start.
Yeah, it was a bit bleak.
Now, if we beat Man City, right now, granted it's the Community Shield, but he'll play a few academy players and stuff, I think, but he's not gonna put out just a piss take team. He's gonna put a respectable team out. And we won't have our entirely strongest team probably either, but if we get a win in that game, then that shows teams right, we're actually gonna try and be serious this season. I'm not saying challenge for the league or anything, but we are actually
competitive.
We're turning a corner on last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to think who's going to start for United, because you think if everyone was fit, United starting 11 is pretty obvious, right? But this game, half the best players have only had a week's training, 4 or 5 days training.
Yeah, so it'll be a mix.
So it's like the big things are who starts at striker, who starts, and the two players that start behind Bruno, and maybe even to an extent who starts at right back and left back. Because centre back, let's say Lindelof's not playing, Maguire's not playing, Yoro's injured, that leaves Evans and Licha Martinez as our only two defenders.
Potentially.
So let's not even go there. Because Lisandro Martinez will start. Doesn't matter that he's not played any pre-season games. He will start. I'm so confident of that. Same with Bruno Fernandes. They will both start because it's a game at Wembley. Ten Hag. I think that's his two biggest outfields kind of certainties.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kobbie Mainoo. You'd say
he'll be on the bench
any other day, but I reckon he won't start.
Yeah.
I reckon Mason Mount will start, because I feel like Mason Mount's shown enough that he'll be able to play in that position, and United will be fine until Mainoo comes back. Because when Mainoo comes back, I think realistically, let's say by the Liverpool game, he'll be starting against Liverpool. But against Fulham, maybe not. Against City, I think probably not. Then you've got who starts at DM, Collier or Casemiro. I reckon it's Casemiro.
Yeah.
I reckon it's Casemiro. Right back, I reckon Dalot starts over Wan-Bissaka, despite Wan-Bissaka's playing. Left back,
I feel like Harry Amass will start.
I hope Luke Shaw starts, but I have a feeling that it'll be Harry Amass.
Well, I think you've got
to... I'll tell you what, it'd be a big statement if Ten Hag started Harry Amass.
Yeah.
It'd be a very big statement, actually.
I still think...
I think it's a ridiculous... So just interject, but I think starting Harry Amass is just... I don't think it's good for anyone. Luke Shaw, admits it, it's not like he's had a really grueling season. He's just come back from injury. He played a few games in England. He looked good against England. He went on holiday, but he's a professional footballer. Realistically, he's going to have been doing fitness stuff still. He'd been at Carrington for a week, and Harry Amass is a 17-year-old. Why would you chuck him in? I know we've all seen Kobbie Mainoo do Kobbie Mainoo stuff, but that's Kobbie Mainoo. Harry Amass has shown himself to be good. during pre-season, but against Salah he did struggle, and whacking him against Man City final last preparation of the season, like he's not going to be starting long term. So I feel like you just got to put Shaw in there, maybe give Shaw 70 and then maybe put Harry Amass on if needed, or put Dalot there. But I just feel like starting Harry Amass I don't see the benefit.
I'm going to say I'd rather have Amass play than Dalot
100%,
because I think with Shaw being fit for the season, Amass being an option, Ten Hag is going to want a left-footed left back. That makes a bigger difference than people realise, by the way. I know it sounds reductive, but like last season we had no left-footers in the back line all season. That affects your angles of how you play out and stuff. Because imagine, right, your team pressing, right, against a team which you know has no left foot in the back line. Okay, Dalot's fairly comfortable with his left foot. He's right-footed. You always know they're going to shape to go back inside the pitch, right? So you can adjust your press quite easily to say, right, you're going to come back inside the pitch. All right, we'll just come right into us, come right into where the play's congested, give us the ball. Yeah. You're not going to go on the outside. He's going to want Amass to play just for the fact that the team needs to get used to playing in that way, where they have that left footer on the left who can, you know, open the pitch out for you a bit more.
And also, like, while we did mention that it would be really nice to win this game for momentum and obviously some sort of silverware, even though it's a mocked piece of silverware. But
bragging rights.
Yeah, bragging rights. But I wouldn't say it's like a game where, let's say Amass starts and he has a poor game and he comes off at half-time, which could be a thing that he does as well. If Shaw could maybe play first half or second half and Amass could do the second, but if he makes a mistake, it's not Fulham on the opening day where it costs us 3 points. It's obviously it's at Wembley, it's a big crowd. There will be pressure.
It's easily forgettable.
But it's not. Oh, he's had a stinker. Like he's cost us points. It's not too important. It is a pre-season friendly if we lose and a trophy if we win. But yeah, I think he's. I always say that you don't really know how ready a youngster is, because I remember watching Garnacho, and even though he was quality in the academy, I didn't think he was ready for the step up to the first team that following season, and he made it up perfectly. And obviously there was some people were taking the mick out of Ten Hag, thinking that Mainu was ready to start at the start of last season, and then he comes in and he starts amazing. Amass is a little bit younger, but he will be a bench player if he does kind of come into this. So I think we can trust. The thing is with players like Mainu and Amass mainly is that they're so technically ready. Like they're both technically ready for when Mainu is coming in to play first team football. And Amass I think he is stronger defensively than a lot of people probably thought when they looked at him.
His positioning needs a little
just
bit
in
of
his
work.
mind.
Yeah.
It's in his mind.
And he's a kid at the end of the day. Like that is going to happen.
His one-on-one defending and his intensity in certain moments. Like I think he pickpocketed Salah at one point and it created an attack. So he's really aggressive and good in those moments. But yeah, like, I think it's mainly when he's a bit deeper, someone's running off of his shoulder and he's not really scanning potentially.
I think
there's little bits like that he needs to improve on.
Another thing is he understands the instructions Ten Hag wants in terms of his wingers as well going forward. So Ten Hag wants his winger and his fullback to be on what you call opposite lines. So if the winger's on the outside, the fullback comes inside, but vice versa. And someone like Rashford, people talk a lot, oh, why is he on the touchline? Why is he on the touchline, right? It's just such a reductive way of looking at it. You need to understand, right? Rashford's at his best, but he can start wide and come inside.
Yeah.
Now, if Amass understands that Rashford is going to start wide, he'll come inside, then he will go around Rashford. That will create the space for Rashford to then come inside. And that is where you want Rashford to be able to come inside from wide. And that's where he's going to do his damage. And I think, actually, on the point of the striker, I think Sancho's going to start at the false 9, because then you could have Amass here, he's going to come out, Rashford's here, Rashford can link up with Sancho can release Rashford, and then suddenly Rashford's in. But in the FA Cup final we saw Rashford, he was in the split striker positions, but when you actually look at how the team was set up, a lot of the time McTominay and Bruno took up the inside positions.
Well, how he set up Garnacho, he was very
Rashford
wide,
and Garnacho started wide, but Rashford, if it wasn't Kyle Walker on the recovery, Rashford could have had like a good few goals that game, because he was coming from wide, he kept getting inside, he kept getting in behind. Yeah. It's just the fact that Kyle Walker's ridiculously fast.
So we're all saying Sancho at striker over Xerxes, because I reckon Sancho will be, because I don't see, I said to you earlier, I don't see the point of not starting Sancho to start Xerxes. Considering that Sancho has played 2 games now there. The only other way I'd see it is if we dropped Sancho and then played Bruno as a false 9 instead.
No,
because we did it, but that's the only other way I can see it happening.
Because Ten Hag wants to take this game seriously, like you said, he's similar to Van Gaal. They take every single game seriously, but I do think that he's obviously going to have one eye on Fulham, and I think Xerxes probably gets 25-30 minutes off the bench and then starts against Fulham.
Yeah,
and then midfield behind Bruno is.
I think Mount Casemiro.
Mount Casemiro.
Which is funny because last summer that was meant to be the ideal midfield.
Yeah. I would absolutely love to see Toby Collier play though. Honestly, we're talking about Amass at left back being responsible. I would love to see Ten Hag just be like, right, Collier, you've played well pre-season. I'm actually going to chuck you in.
It would be a nice show of like intent there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's got like the fundamentals right now to be a decent squad player, and it's just about seeing whether he can do it in obviously, like we've said, it's not completely competitive, but at Wembley against a massive team like that would be a good test for him.
Whatever you think about it, it's still a step up from a pre-season friendly.
And he is much more ready than Amass. He's 20 years old. He's been playing under 21s football basically since he came here 2 years ago, which is why no one really knew about him, because the 18s get a lot more, I'd say, media coverage because they're actually shown on MUTV. So, yeah, he's kind of gone about his business slowly. Really came into it at the end of last season, and now he's showing that he's a really useful. I think he can be a really useful player this year.
He's got legs, physicality. He's got a lot of the things that we're lacking. But my last thing is I want to say, I'm going to go through my team. All right, what I would say. So let's say, for argument's sake, that Maguire and Love aren't fit. I'm going to go obviously Onana in goal. Dalot at right back. Lissandro is one of my centre backs, and you're not going to like it. I'm going to say Casemiro because
then it makes space for Collier.
Yeah, and honestly, I know he had a few stinks that I would rather see Casemiro at centre back than Evans. I do just trust it against Haaland a bit more. Casemiro might not quite be the same. I do just think I would. No offense to Evans, like. Look, when we got him in, like, he was just supposed to be like a guy to have around. I don't think anyone expected him to be playing as much as he did, and given context, he did a decent job, but I would rather see Casemiro playing at centre-back, personally, than Evans. Lisandro Martinez, Harry Amass, if Luke Shaw is not entirely fit, but obviously if Luke Shaw's fit, I'd give him the first 45. Collier, then Mount and Fernandes, Ahmad on the right, Sancho in the middle, Rashford off the left.
Yeah, I mean, Ahmad's been brilliant.
We've got to mention Ahmad, haven't we?
I think you know what I was going to say. It's kind of nice almost that we aren't even debating who's on the right wing. Right, he's just made it his own.
Yeah, he really has.
Oh, what a player, man! What a player!
I don't know if you saw me last week, just like absolutely.
With 5 minutes of just Ahmad glazing. The other thing to remember in the Community Shield is there are 6 subs. I didn't know this until yesterday. So in Premier League, obviously, you normally get 5, but there are 6 subs. So you mentioning like 40, there might be 2 changes.
I think that makes sense. I think it makes sense. Amass and Shaw doing 45 each.
Yeah, Amass and Shaw doing 45, and maybe if Evans starts, then it'll be Casemiro and Collier also do 45 each.
Yeah.
Etc.
Even if Maguire starts, it could be Maguire does 45, Evans does 45.
What do we think about score predictions?
I'll go 2-1 United again.
2-1 United. Yusuf?
I'm going to let you go first.
I'm going, United win on pens. 2-2 game, United win on pens.
Would it go straight to pens?
I think it does, yeah.
I'm going to go 2-1 United as well.
2-1 United, 2-1 United. I'm saying 2-2 win on pens. Right, let us know your score predictions below. Who's winning? Who's scoring? Man United are winning. Ahmad scoring twice. I don't know who's scoring for City, let's say Haaland. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.